Stevie, we are here fresh off of a huge Bills victory over the Patriots. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Browns and everything. Christmas is 1 week away. What is your favorite Christmas food?
My favorite Christmas movie, you said?
Food?
Oh, food. Oh, I don't have a favorite seasonal, you know what I mean, type of food. It's whatever the missus is throwing together is the best.
That's the right answer.
I can't even name. I don't have no seasonal food, to be honest. You make like certain dishes on Christmas?
We don't have like a set one, but like my wife makes manigotti a lot on Christmas. That's always a favorite of mine.
Manigotti?
Yeah, it's like stuffed shells kind of is something it might also be known
Okay.
as. It's like an Italian dish. Or ham, steak. I'm not that picky. I'm not a big fish guy though, so I don't eat the whole fish on some people do that for Christmas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I really didn't even know it was a thing. So it's like a double Thanksgiving then, right?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Dang. Okay. I need to come pull up to the crib then.
Come on through, man. I don't have a bowling alley, but I'll have some food.
All good. I'll substitute the bowling alley for some food for sure.
Hey, it'll be a good time. And speaking of a good time, we got a lot to talk about. So, Sammy, hit it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Bills Banter with Stevie Johnson and Micheal F. Florio.
Fitzpatrick fires. Oh, caught! Steve Johnson! Touchdown, Buffalo! Why so serious?
The sickest Buffalo Bills podcast.
Allen will run it himself. He pumps. Got some daylight. Hurdles to the end zone.
It's gonna be sick.
Guru, what up, though, family?
Hey, look, it's a lot more fun when we're coming out here and the vibes are high, right? And we don't have to fake it or try to turn it around. And
Nah, the vibes is always good here. You know, we tell it like it is. At the end of the day, we tell it like it is. We of course want to see our team winning, but you know, we always keep it cool no matter what's happening here in Banter community.
This might be the highest the vibes have been in a while, though, with the Bills. That win was something.
Facts, yeah. That it was big. It was it's as expected though, to be honest. You know, our team, they're on another level and we know it. And the thing is, a lot of people are getting confused with how we come out to play. And yeah, that is a distraction. How they're like a dismal team, and then second half they go on a tear. You know, but that just shows how good they are. You know, this team is next level, and we expect it every week when they know they can pull it out in one half and still win the game. So, you know, that's what it is when you're great like that, Guru.
Yeah, and I think I speak for a lot of Bills fans when I say I wish they could be great for 60 minutes and not, you know, give us a heart attack for the first 30. But it makes it more fun, right? It more dramatic, and it's something we were talking about last week, right? I think it does a lot for the team's like psyche to be like, we are legitimately never out of a game.
Honestly, I feel like the team is good. You know, they know who they are. They know who their identity is. It's more so our social community. I'm retweeting our sick podcast right now. But it's so much more fun. Like you said, it's just entertaining for us to go back and forth with our communities, with opposing team communities, and just understand that it's really love for the game, you know. And as far as the players, we can't get into their mind. You know, they're working from what? Let me see. When I was going there, I'm pulling up at 5 a.m., you know, and leaving around 6 p.m. So like they understand what they need to do. It's just about us supporting them through and through.
That was your like Monday through Friday. I know Tuesday's an off day, but like that was your work days during the week, not on game day.
Yeah. And the thing is more of us out there. You know, it's more people that do that because you take advantage of more time. You get more time in the sauna. You get more time in a treatment room. You know what I'm saying? You get to work out an extra set. You still get film study. You know, all the things that you kind of are on schedule for, you can do that and then still have free time. You know what I mean? So you just take advantage of your time while you in there. And a team like the Bills, who've been winning consistently as a unit, you know, they understand their identity. So it's just on them to show it each Sunday.
I just want people listening to hear that, because a lot of the times, not everyone, but you hear stuff like, oh, they practice 1 hour a day and then they play a game on. No, 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. That is more than a full-time job. Like that is it's a lifestyle at that point.
Yeah, another thing to add to that, Guru, is I've been seeing a lot of like these injuries and the ACLs and things. And yeah, the days can be long like that from us going there. But I think the league still needs to scale back on how much they're pushing the players at practice. You know, they should be more comfortable with guys doing quote unquote walkthrough 50% as opposed to even going really hard. You know, we understand what guys have, and I think going harder at practice on that Wednesday and Thursday and track meet Fridays, I don't think is necessary because it's burning these guys out as we see all of these injuries that's popping up. And I think it's just one of those things where we need to scale back.
On top of it, they're playing more football than ever, right? Like we're 17 games in the season now, and like some of these guys are starting in July, and I know training camp starts then, but like for people trying to make the team and stuff, they're letting it all out for 7-8 months. And different sport, but I'm a Knicks fan. Knicks won the NBA Cup this week. Shout out to them.
Shout out to Knicks, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. I listen to their podcast, like Brunson and Hart, and they talk about how in season their practices are pretty much just walkthroughs. Like they don't scrimmage, they don't do anything because it's about saving your body for when you need it the most. And I do think the NFL can catch up in that regard a little bit.
Absolutely, especially if you want to add more games, because the problem isn't adding the games, and nobody's complaining about pulling up on Sundays. It's the work in between, where if it was just like walk through and go out and run this script type things and link with your players and get that chemistry, then you will be able to sustain more games. You know, we'll eventually see 20 plus game seasons, but you're going to have to give a little also and not expect as much out of players. You know, and that was one of the things when I was in the league at my time, you had to go hard. Everything run hard. And then you start seeing some of the new guys come in and they going at their pace, you know, and it's like, dang, you know, we really ain't supposed to be running like that, but you know what I'm saying? It kind of helps with the body at the end of the day. So yeah, we'll see more games, but they'll have to give a little at practice though.
Yeah, you only got so many bullets in the chamber, right? Like you don't want to be wasting, and practice injuries is a big theme this year with the Bills. So that held Christian Benford out last week. It did not matter. Before we get into the Patriots game, though, they did win. So we got to remind everyone the best way to celebrate a Bills victory is with our Mafia sweet victory. And you know Stevie always got it on him.
Yes, go. Yeah, shout out here. You know it.
It's never far.
It's never too far away on a nice, I was gonna say Victory Monday, but we're on a Victory Thursday. So yeah, again, along with the Cigar Mafia crew, you can tap in at www.cigarmafia.com. Use code Stevie13. And you can get things more than cigars, like this cool leather pouch that comes packed. Now, I don't come packed with a sweet victory, but you know, you can put your sweet victories in there. And shout out to the partners. Another thing about our Cigar Mafia partners, we'll be out in Vegas for the second round of playoffs, assuming we'll get past, first. And we'll be out in Vegas watching the match out there at Naked City, LV, and supporting the Vegas Bills backers.
Let me know. I might have to pull up there. Vegas is just an hour flight away. Like it's not that far.
Right there. Yeah, it's a good community, man. It's a real good community. They supporting. Shout out to the office, the guys out there. They also have a Naked City pizza in Buffalo. They helped us out at our creators mixer with a Buffalo logo and supply pieces for our 3-on-3 hoop activation. So it's love from East Coast to West Coast. Shout out to the partners.
This is why this guy is the best, man. He's always looking to find ways to give back and stuff. But Stevie, on this Bills victory over the Patriots, as someone from the outside looking in, right? I look at a game like that and I'm like, okay, there's that win now. There's the Bucs win. There's the Bengals win. There's the Ravens win. All of these games where the Bills have found themselves in a double-digit hole or a touchdown hole, and they just, in the second half, they look like a completely different team on both sides of the ball. What do you think leads to that change? Because they are the best second half team in football. First half, still, they leave a lot to be desired. So is it a case of like just trying to do what you do in the second half over the course of this long, or is it confidence that they know they're never out of a game? What do you think this many come from behind victories does for that team?
So I think is a part of it is half the skill of the players. They're very talented players. They're resilient players, and it's also a lot on the coaching, the way that the coaches have molded their mind. Their mind to go on to the next play, to switch up the defense. To switch up the offense. They've done everything to keep the mind at work. And when you have guys that's mature and able to move on to the next play, that means when you get in situations where the first half is bad, they're still moving on to the next play, a progressive mindset, So I credit that to, the way that the facility and coaches are grooming these players in Buffalo in that locker room. And then, I started off with the player skill because you still have to buy in.
Yeah.
And as a player, like I'm thinking of Cole Bishop right now. Early when he was getting beat or missing some tackles, you never saw his head down, and you always saw others like, yo, come on, let's go. Like we on to the next or something like that. They really didn't even have to do that and say on to the next because he was already on to the next. So that's where you credit the players. And it's a great mix right now in the Buffalo Bills. And yeah, it definitely will help them in the future being in these situations. I was talking with Kevin and Andy, my partners on the Buffalo End Zone, and we was listening to Dawson Knox talk after the game. And he said, successful teams have to have close games and comeback wins throughout the season to prepare them for bigger stages in the future. And when I heard it, I was like, I mean, he's right. Although he hasn't been to a Super Bowl, but when you watch the Super Bowl, it's either a team that's making a great comeback or, you win in a close game, learn how to manage it. And the Bills are showing all of these evolutions and progressions throughout the season. So it just seemed like is right for the taking, especially considering, unfortunately, Mahomes is injured and he's kicked us out 4 times. So it seemed like it should be our time, right?
Yeah, and I think there's something to that because yes, the Bills are a very talented team, but I would argue every team in the playoffs are very talented. Like they're all paid a lot of money, they're all professionals, this is their life, their craft. I think there's something though, and we were talking about this last week, to being battle tested like this, because I'm not even trying. We're going to talk about the Patriots in a second, but I'm not even trying to take a shot here at them. That is not a battle tested team. Most of their guys, I know like Diggs is an exception and stuff, not a lot of playoff experience there. No fourth quarter comebacks this season. Like things have been kind of look, and I'm not even bringing up the easy schedule here. I guess I kind of just did, but things have been smooth sailing for the Patriots, and this was kind of their first test of adversity. And I've seen a lot of Patriot fans try to spin it like we needed that to wake us up and stuff for the playoffs. But I'm like, did you need that? Because you didn't you didn't win. Like if that happened and you win, I think that is a big lesson, and it gives you confidence. And I look at this AFC team. Conference. And I was talking about it with people at work. I'm the only Bills fan there. And they're all like, I think the Bills because they're more battle tested than everyone. And that's what people keep saying about them. And not that they haven't been battle tested in the past, but I don't think any of the Bills teams from the past 4 or 5 years have been through a season with this many up and downs.
Yeah, facts. I feel you. I want to speak on what you said though about the Patriots not needing this. Like it's good. They do need it. They didn't have to win, Guru. It's all right. Like they can say, yeah, we needed this as a team that's won 10 straight. Yeah, they did need it. It's gonna make it even more sweet when we see them again, maybe, and then beat them again. So we can let them say whatever.
I think there's a difference between needing a hard-fought game that you come out on the losing side in. When you're coming off of your bye at home and you're up 21-0, there's nothing you're going to be able to say, in my opinion, to spin that as a positive. Like that was a bad day.
How about this, Guru? How about when the Bills were riding high, undefeated at home, ain't lost in a season and a half, and then we get our new uniforms and then we get smashed. we all was like, man, maybe we needed to get smacked in the mouth. You know what I mean? Before we.
So you could pull up my literally as I was walking to my car from Chasers that day. I posted on X. I was like, Bills took them lightly. They needed an awakening call, but I don't think the Patriots, experience-wise, are at that level yet. And I think there's a difference between like the Bills lost that game, but it was back and forth. It came down to the end. You're up 21-0 at home. You know they were unpacking those hats and shirts. You know the crowd would like they had to go home and be like, what did we just see? Yeah. But Stevie, they weren't the only ones talking, right? Like you have said numerous times on this pod that New England was your favorite place to play because of how the fans, how vocal they are and how much they were talking. Well, they were talking after this game, but they were saying stuff like, it's the refs that gave the game to the Bills. And cool, fans could do that. But I wanted to ask you your opinion on Mike Vrabel coming out and like saying that the refs were the calls were all going the Bills' way and stuff like that. Because to me, fans saying it is one thing, a coach saying it, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of that.
Right. Yeah, that one was crazy. I didn't expect that at all, to pop up on the feed, seeing Coach Vrabel saying that because of how cool he's been as far as a player's coach, getting them ready, getting them prepared, bringing that energy, allowing certain things that certain organizations may not allow, from players and antics and things. So to hear him say that, some of it makes me feel like, okay, he must see something that I didn't see. But it has to be overridden because you're at home, and then it was no talks about it before. I don't think you would have said that if you would have won that game. So it just shocked me that he got caught up into whatever question was asked, and he ended up answering it like that. It just made it look bad for him, but he'll get over that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's like a long lasting thing. But on Monday when I saw it, I was like, the head coach is blaming like. That to me kind of opens the door for players to be like, well, we were better. The rest were, and like, no, you weren't. Scoreboard, right? Like,
did he get fined for it, Guru?
Not that I've seen, because I don't know how it works if you say something on like a radio call rather than like a post game presser. If he said that in the post game, he's in trouble.
Oh, that was on a radio call. Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
But I was shocked because I had paid. I mean, we're in a text chain together, and on Monday morning I saw all the Patriots fans complaining, and I was like, I'm blasting them on Thursday, but it's 3 days later, the venom's gone now, But I was shocked for a head coach to say that. I will say, and I know Jordan Poyer has spoken on this and stuff. For as good of a win as that was, and how many highs there are to take from it, they need to adjust the run defense and quick.
Okay, yeah. All right, how you thinking? By claiming people or like just technique? Like what are you thinking?
I think right now it's probably too late to add anyone. I don't know who is even out there that could change it. I'm hoping that when they get healthier, that maybe they have 4 linebackers that can make a difference. And I think maybe try to keep them fresh by rotating them in and out. But like the Bills come back, right? They take that first lead on the Josh Allen to Dawson Knox touchdown, which I posted. Josh Allen is inevitable because he ran it in. They called it back. He was like, all right, you want to put me 10 yards back? I'm just going to throw it to my tight end and get this 7 either way. But they claw their way back from 21-0. And literally on the next play, what should have been a negative 2-3 yard run turns into a 65-yard house call. Like, you just can't have that.
Yeah. And I mean, it kind of starts with the defensive line when it comes to, running a play where you're losing yards and then you break loose. That means you either broke a tackle from a D lineman, or a D lineman gave up on the play and, somebody didn't scrape down, or, I'm not understanding no nastiness from shedding tackles is what I mean, or shedding blockers, my bad. You can't really allow that because that's an unnecessary 6 points that you got to make up. And only way I would say to fix it from my thought is just effort at this point. Like you said, there's no new player that's gonna come in right now. It's just about effort every play, understanding situations. And if this is one of those running situations and you identify it, do all you can to rip and get a guy back, whether it's bull rushing, do anything you can, because if a team start running the ball, that can be a slow poison for any football team. I think back when I was in college with the Kentucky Wildcats, and we had a dominant offense. I mean, Andre Woodson was slinging it to Keenan Burton, Jacob Tammy, Dickie Lyons, myself, Raphael Little, and we went up against a Mississippi State team that only had a guy named, the Bills Mafia would know him, Boobie Dixon, the fireman. So he was the only star there. What he did that game was literally kept us on the sideline the entire game. And we only had a few possessions. I scored twice that game. I did my thing, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Boobie, I mean, he shut us down. He kept getting first down after first down after first down, and they beat us, So that's definitely something that we need to pay attention to as a popping team in the league. We got to stop the run, and that's been our Achilles heel so far.
For exactly the reason you just said, right? Because if you're facing the Bills, you're like, they have 4 and 17 on the other side. We don't want to see those guys out here doing their thing. So we want to control the clock. I think the Bills are fortunate that Travion housed that one, because it gave them time to drive back and get the score and take the lead again. If that was a 5-minute drive where they just keep eating clock because they're moving the chains, who knows how much time they have left. And before we move on from the Patriots, though, I did want to ask, was there a point in the game where you were like, the Bills are going to win this game?
Well, as they were still playing, it's like, we've seen our Bills in situations like this, right? Like, I don't think Josh Allen has ever been shut down. Like, that would have just been a first. That would have been a first of us. It was 73 total yards in the first half. It's like, okay, if he get under 100 yards, this will be the first time we've ever seen something wild like this. So we don't really expect that. So, we expecting to see Josh end up putting the cape on, and something's going to happen. And eventually you get down 10 and it's like, yep, something is going to happen. We've seen this before week 1 now. And boom, they just continue to play. But it was really Ray Davis, which is, matter of fact, let's go to our Why So Serious segment, please. Hit it.
Why so serious?
Yeah, I had to interrupt myself on this one, because I want to talk about another former Wildcat in Ray Davis. That is the reason why we stayed and maintained. It's the game within the game. Ray Davis is, I believe, leading the league right now in kickoff return yard average, and he was huge for us. The yards that Ray Davis and the special teams collected, along with Reggie Gilliam leading the way, since they mixed up and took the returner out and put another blocker back there, which was a great play by the special teams coach.
Yeah.
It takes up, first downs that we have to play, calls that Brady has to make, thoughts that Josh has to do, hits that Cook has to take. It eliminated all of that into half. So you already got a great team. I mean, having a great special teams is better for the offense and for your team in general.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go half the field now, because Dave, like, routinely he was getting tackled at the logo. So that for me, the play when after they cut it to 10, because I wasn't worried about the offense even at halftime. It was the defense. So when they got that 3-and-out right after their score, when I think it was either Milano or Bosa sacked Drake May, it was like, oh, we're getting the ball back down 10. If the defense could get one more stop in this game, I don't think the Bills' offense is getting. And they literally didn't. They scored a touchdown every time. But per our producers, we have a comment from the chat for you, Stevie.
In the chat. All right, we got Chocolate Girl. What's up, Chocolate Girl? Hey, Stevie. I've been emailing the Bills and Bean to bring you on. I would love for them to bring you on to work with Keon. I know you can get him right. I'm just rooting for him. Hey,
you
Chocolate
and me
Girl.
both.
I'm gonna tell you like this. The Bills actually did reach out, and they got me and Keon connected. So we've been doing some mental work, and we'll connect in the off season. I might need to press the issue and get up there in the facility a little more often. But yeah, we'll get things started on the off season though. Thanks for the comment.
Can I ask on that, or is that like in-house business?
Yeah, you can ask. I can answer.
Did they reach out like recently?
This was actually around the time with Smitty when he called out. Yeah, when he called our guy out.
I'm just gonna say I think the Sick Podcast deserves some, because we were like, yo, Stevie, like, what would you say to him? And you gave a great answer, and you were like, I coach him up this way, and I do think you could teach a dog how to bark and stuff. Shout out to the Bills for listening, one, and two, shout out to them for doing what they should do and use legendary alumni like Stevie to help the players from today. I never understand, like, I'm a Mets fan too. For a while, the Mets wouldn't let Keith Hernandez, who was their announcer and their best first baseman in history, talk to their players. And I'm like, why would you have that resource and not utilize it? And I felt the same way with you and the Bills. I think you should be out there on the practice squad or wide receiver coach or whatever position you want to be in. But shout out to them for hooking you and Keon up. That one makes me very happy for you. Two, it gives me a lot of hope for Keon in the future.
Absolutely, you know, and you can only do so much from a phone, you know, and just sending these messages, especially to guys that's already talented and naturally gifted, you know. So he's someone that I have to be around, you know. I need to be on the field with him for 4 hours, going through an entire route tree with the DB here, with the quarterback. You know, I need those things. That's why when you was speaking about like practice squad legends, and then Phillip Rivers coming back, it was like, dang, okay, he's 44. I'm younger than him. There's other guys out there other legends that can that's ready to teach and teach other than the way of a coach. You feel me? Because I ain't gonna say obvious. There's better ways to teach than just being coached and told what to do. And we're able to do that. So utilize the resource. Maybe that's something that an NFLPA can bring around, you know. And maybe it won't start with me, but, you know, we got guys retiring early and they can still transition out, you know.
You change the game everywhere you go in every aspect, so it probably will be you.
We try.
Speaking of Phillip Rivers, what did you think of seeing your guy out there? Because you've played with him, like.
Yeah, I loved it. You know, and you know, you didn't see the deep ball, but okay, yeah, you didn't see the deep ball, but he still put his team in a position to win the game against the Seattle Seahawks, who's at the top of their division after not playing for 5 years in a week of practice. You know, so he had a touchdown, had an interception, but at the end of the day, he put his team in a position to win the game. So I thought he did excellent to me.
He walked off the field with less than a minute and gave his team the lead. Like, that is not on him. Look, I get it. Kicking is easier now than ever. And with the new kicking ball and stuff, kickers from 60 yards is what 50 used to be. So I get it. A field goal lead is never safe and stuff. But question for you here, Stevie. Are you rooting on Monday Night Football for your former quarterback, Phillip Rivers, or a team that is still very close to your heart in the 49ers?
Oh, I'm going with the Niners, brother. Yeah, I got to go with the Niners. I hope Phil tear it up. But I'm going with the Niners, my boy, because I want to see the Niners and the Bills in the Super Bowl this year.
The Stevie Bowl.
Yeah, I need that to happen.
Would the Chargers and Niners classify as a Stevie Bowl in your mind?
Yeah, it's still a Stevie Bowl, but I'm not going to be as happy and excited as I would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bills fans appreciate hearing that.
Yeah. You know, shout out to all the community. Hey, well, speaking of the communities, we got a new segment, brother. Our NFL matchup segment. Matter of fact, you know, so we want to give something special to you guys. This week, we will have the Dallas Cowboys community and the Minnesota Vikings community joining us. You know, we're going to watch Deron Bland and Justin Jefferson. Guru, did you know who Deron Bland was before this?
I do. I know him, but he's obviously not the household name that Justin Jefferson is.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with his game, but let's put on this clip of this NFL matchup, and then we'll bring on a creator for our NFL matchup to interview him. Hopefully y'all enjoy this.
What's the matchup?
The Dallas Cowboys versus the Minnesota Vikings. What's up, world? This is Stevie Johnson. And for this week's SJ NFL matchup of the week, we got Justin Jefferson versus Deron Bland. Deron Bland is emerging as one of the best. And Justin Jefferson, I mean, we already know about Jettis. Let's get into it. All right, let's get it. Matchup up top. Bland on D, Jefferson on offense. Okay, Jefferson went for the hezzy skip on the outside to get the burst pass, but Bland is super balanced and he played physical and he wasn't going for nothing. Okay, if I was Jettis and I used that same release, I would have went towards the 6 of Bland as opposed to going towards the 2 and then going outside towards the 2. You understand? You see, he did the stutter step move on the outside and nothing showed inside. So, you know, Bland just did his job and finished. 1 for Bland, 0 for Jettis. Okay, down low in the slot. Routine slant, 12 yards, first down, 1-1. All right, up top. Bland's balance is impeccable right now, and he shut that down. So 2-1, Bland. In a situation where a balanced DB is playing so disciplined, but he's not shooting his hands, I will grab him, control him, and then I would get to the outside. So as a receiver, I know the moves aren't working because he's disciplined to his technique, so I'm going to have to get physical with him. You know, Bland stayed disciplined. He didn't go for anything. He went with where the body language was, and it was going towards fade.
In that first half, one of the best, Deron Bland, and what he was able to do against Justin Jefferson. 6 matchups against Jefferson. He had 3 targets and only 1 catch allowed, and these were some key plays. And Bland was right there.
Nice. Bland is clamping. Yeah, Bland clamped all day. 6 matchups, 3 targets, 1 for 12, which was that first. Big dub for Bland. And that's our NFL matchup of the week. Stay tuned for next week.
I think we have him joining us too, right, Stevie?
Yeah, is Jackson on? Let's bring him on. Jack, what up, though, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Jack.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, brother. Look, I wanted to jump right into it. Like, which community are you tied into? What's your fan base?
So, you know what? Growing up, I've always been a Raiders fan, which has been tough 20 years for me. But more than anything, man, I really am a football fan. I'm a football fan to the highest degree. You know, I love ball. I love talking about it. And, I love the game, man.
Hey, which Raiders? LA, Oakland, or Vegas?
Oakland. I used to go to the games with my dad. My dad has had season tickets for a very long time. And so when they moved to Vegas, I've actually never been to a Vegas game, but used to go to the Raider games all the time. And it was a lot of fun. The Coliseum wasn't the best stadium, but man, there's a special place in my heart for it.
Yo, yeah, I'm telling you, the Black Hole was different. It was literally a party there. Like that, we can't speak enough for the vibes that you just feel going there, even as an opposing team. The music, you know what I mean? The vision of the outfits, the costumes, you know what I mean? Is everything. I definitely understand what you're saying on that. Guru, tell me about this NFL matchup though.
That was like you guys put together. That was awesome. And I mean, I think that was the perfect, like a great matchup to highlight for our first time doing it because everyone knows Justin Jefferson, like you were saying, but Bland isn't the household name. And it could be easy if like the throws were airmailed and stuff to be like, oh, it's bad quarterback play. But like that sideline route, that was a good throw. It was put in but Bland was legitimately attached to Justin Jefferson. So, I think that is one of the best matchups to highlight. And I was, as someone who watched that game live, I was surprised that Justin Jefferson was held as in check as he has. With you guys breaking it down, though, were you shocked like that Jefferson only had 12 yards against him?
I didn't know who Deron Bland was, and that's why I love the fact that Jackson, we was able to connect, because I don't know if that was your mission to give guys exposure that probably haven't got the exposure, or is this just something that you do on the weekly, finding these matchups against the star players, or is it just about finding guys?
Yeah, really, it's been something for me. I'm sorry, I think I'm losing connection with you guys. I don't know if you guys can
We got
still
you.
hear me or see me.
Yeah,
Yep.
we got you.
Good. Okay, gotcha. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, NFL matchup highlights, it all just really kind of started because I've always been a big fan of the game, really, in general. I mean, I go back to watching Charles Woodson and his classic matchups with Randy Moss. Stevie, your matchups with Darrelle Revis were a lot of fun to watch, especially for the Bills Mafia. I know they remember those well. But matchups are so great because they're a game within the game. And so often we have elite corners going up against elite receivers, or elite offensive tackles going up against elite defensive ends. And oftentimes those matchups can really dictate who wins or loses in a game.
Yeah, for sure. And I also like to highlight the fact that it also benefits the player. When they see this type of things, they can understand technique and how they can get better at it, or how to be prepared. Like Guru, you were saying, were you surprised? And I skipped over the question at first, but to answer it, I was a bit surprised because I didn't know who Deron Bland was. But when I saw how he was playing and utilizing his technique, I'm like, he's very disciplined. He's physical when need be. He's not aggressive, but he's physical because he's putting his hands on them. And I also noticed with Justin Jefferson that he's not physical. He's either speed or working on a move to beat you. And if he add the physicality to his game, then I think he would have been a little bit better than he was against Deron Bland this past game.
Jackson, I know you're going to be busy throughout the playoffs breaking this stuff down. What are the chances in the offseason we could get you doing something like this with some of Stevie's old games?
Man, it's funny. So, and Michael, thanks for having me on.
Of course.
I would 100%. Anytime you need me, I'll be there. So we can get that out of the way. And to answer your question a little further, there's been a few matchups of Stevie's career, and I don't want to spoil all of it, but Richard Sherman has had very high remarks for Stevie Johnson. A lot of respect for Stevie Johnson. Darrelle Revis, I know he knows deep down Stevie was one of the toughest matchups in his career. So anytime you guys need me, I put some of those matchups out there. I've had some conversations with Stevie. He's been nice enough to have some back and forth conversations with me, and I really appreciate him for that. But anytime you guys want me or need me, I will be there, and I can definitely help you guys out with that. There's plenty of DBs who had a lot of trouble with Stevie Johnson.
Hey, it's appreciated. Hey, Jack, can you give a shout out to where the community can find you and find the highlights?
I'm sorry, Stevie, can you say that one more time? I might have lost you for just a second.
Yeah, can you shout out where the community can find the highlights, the socials?
I'm sorry, man. I can't hear you.
Yes.
We'll tweet it out, me and you, Stevie, and Jackson's gonna become joining us more than just today, because that breakdown is awesome, and I think in the off season we could have a lot of fun taking trips down memory lane with you, Stevie, and I think it's beneficial for the viewers because we could watch what you're doing and then you could break it down like I was doing this to make, because as someone who wasn't fortunate enough to ever have the capabilities of playing in the NFL, there's so much little things that you're doing when you're one-on-one opposite of a DB And I don't think the average fan knows most of what you're doing to get open and stuff. So having it in front of them and hearing you break it down, I think that would be tremendous in the offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. So big shout out to Jackson and what he's doing with the NFL matchup highlights. And yeah, it's perfect for like film sessions and teaching. A lot of people are always asking me, how did I do certain things? How did I beat certain players? And when Jackson ended up contacting me, I was like, dang, this is a perfect tool to, help those that's really interested in being a route guru. And yeah, so once he starts sending me these clips, I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. He sent me Jackson Smith and Jigba versus AJ Terrell. And it was really like my first time even watching the matchup, and those two guys. I haven't watched AJ Terrell since he was in Clemson. And in Jigba, I mean, I've seen him in college. I've seen highlights and things because he's dominating. But to see them going up against each other, it brought another dynamic to the game. And I was more interested in watching that as opposed to the natural TV version where you only see a quarterback, you can like Jackson said, you see the game within the game. And it's pretty cool watching that.
I think because of, and this is a completely different conversation, but because of the way that football games are shot, like you said, they're keeping an eye on the ball, so you see the quarterback, you see the lineman. I think wide receiver play, there's so much to it that the average fan doesn't realize because you're not seeing. All you see is like when I used to watch you play, right? Like I would see Fitzpatrick throw the ball, and then I would see you open, catch the ball, and then do what you do after the catch. But you're not really seeing everything, the hand fighting and everything that goes into you getting open. You're just like, he's open, throw him the ball. But like, there's so much to that.
So much to it. And, I'm a guy that's big on mentorship, so I like to teach my people that I'm training and trying to figure out how to do the things I do. And when you watch the film, you can't really get the full gist of it. So, I feel like to do justice for it, there's got to be a network or some type of channel or other option to where we can watch a game where it's the skill position. I ain't want to say skill position, but DBs and receivers can watch and learn and hear from guys like us, that watch the game, and you're so interested in like, dang, why did he do this? Why would we also need that too, because then I'll just be on there talking all day about stuff people don't understand. But yeah, man, we'll have those NFL matchups each week. I wanted to ask him before he got out of there who was to be expected for the next week. And overall, shout out to Deron Bland for winning that matchup, man. He was dominant. He was dominant on Justin Jefferson, and I did not expect to see that. And the past week, Jackson Smith and Jigba, if people wanted to know, versus AJ Terrell, it was a tie. Both players did good. They got a pass on each other. They shut each other down. And Jigba could have finished AJ Terrell, but he didn't get physical, and ended up turning into a draw. And, I'm looking forward to seeing more matchups.
Stevie, speaking of receivers, I know you all champion for one another. Jacoby Myers just got a 3-year extension with the Jaguars. So they just traded for him a couple weeks ago. He's going to be there for the foreseeable future. And he's what transformed that Jaguars passing attack and made it what it is, because BTJ wasn't that safety blanket, but now Brian Thomas could be their field stretcher, and Jacoby Myers is playing that safety blanket role. And it's, I think, really helped Trevor Lawrence play some of his best football of his career, I would argue.
Yes, absolutely. They're developing a team. They're developing a legit team, and I'm happy for them. But they're still figuring it out. They're still learning how to win. And yeah, they are putting great pieces together. And Liam Cohen is killing it. Another former Wildcat coach. So he's dialing it up. I feel like Liam Cohen is similar to Brady, how he dialed things up. So they got a good future, and we'll be running into them sooner than later. And yeah, we'll see who continue to prevail. But yeah, shout out to Myers. We always want to see our guys get paid and be happy.
Yeah, we might get the battle of Josh Allen's in the playoffs this year, because they had their Josh Hines Allen. He added the Hines because I think he was tired of being called not that Josh Allen, but
Yeah, I wanted us to pick up. I wanted us to get Josh Allen. We had opportunity to. Could you imagine that Josh Allen on offense and defense, and he's dominant like that? Like, why didn't they do? They could have got him too, Guru, but they didn't do it.
And he is a dog. Like,
yeah.
Speaking,
Kentucky, that was more Kentucky guys.
Look, I think the thing here is just draft Kentucky guys if you're Buffalo. Everyone you take has worked out.
It's the pipeline, man. It's the pipeline. Love it.
Drew Bucket's backyard up to Buffalo. That's how it is. And shout out to the Bucket family. Drew wasn't able to join us today because of some family stuff. He will be back next week, but hoping the best for the Buckets, I will call them. But Stevie, before we go, the Bills do play this week. They get the Browns, and there is an absolute dog on the other side in Myles Garrett, who is one sack away from the record, from tying the record.
Get it. Let's go. Does he get it against? Oh, tying it, right? He got what, 20?
When he ties 1.5 or more, he sets it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And
you know what I said?
First off, yeah, shout out to Myles Garrett for even doing that. Shout out to Michael Strahan for setting the record. You did, and then Garrett. I mean, we knew if it was anybody to get it, it probably would have been him. And yeah, do I think they get it in Buffalo? Maybe. You know, that'll be their only victory, I would say. You know, so be happy with that, and then just take that L.
Look, when the Bills are up like 4 scores, I'm cool with Josh being like, Myles, all right, I'll lay down for this one.
Do you think Josh do the Brett Favre where he just fell down?
That's how Strahan got the record, so it kind of would be fitting. But I don't think there's 3 games left. You know, I don't. If it was week 18, maybe, but Myles is fine.
If Josh was to do it, if they like scripted it one time, hey, yeah, boom, we go hit that just for iconic reasons, pictures and images.
I wouldn't be mad as long as the Bills are ahead on the scoreboard. You know, if they're losing, I'm not giving a snap away.
Yeah, facts. I mean, even if they lose, and we know what can happen, so it really don't matter, right? Either way.
That's what I wanted to ask you, right? With this being the Browns on the other side, are we gonna have another game where the first half I'm texting our group like, what is going on? Get rid of everybody, and then in the second half I'm like, here we go, or is this gonna be a little bit more of a I won't say an easy victory because none of them are easy, but maybe a little bit more of a direct path to victory instead of the roller coaster ride.
Yeah, I would say that. It'll be a direct path. Let the game flow. I feel like the only way they'll lose this game is if they force things as far as like unnecessary going for it on 4th downs, maybe if they're in that position, not taking the field goals, maybe not catching interceptions that's there, you know, because eventually the Browns they turn over the ball, you know, or they'll be in a situation where they need to punt the ball and it won't work out, and that kind of hurts them. So what I'm saying is the Cleveland Browns usually shoot themselves in the foot. So the Bills, all they have to do is play their game, and I mean, more times than not, they should come out with the victory against the Cleveland team who only score average of 16 points per game, you know.
Yeah.
So we should best.
I'm a Shador. Look, I'm not telling you he's like great or anything, but I do think he is their best quarterback, and I think he's got upside. I just think he's very early in his career right now. You know, the Bills are at a different stage of the process than the Browns are right now.
Yeah, for sure. That part, you know, we all support him. I support him also. You know, I'd even love to play with him just so that he can get that comfortability of having that completion guy to go to at a practice, you know what I mean? Building things up like that. Because he's going to be good. You know he's going to be special. You just got to have the support and a team that's going to let him be who he is, you know, and not try to, you know, overpower what he brings, you know, as far as his entourage and his name, things like that.
So the Bills can clinch a playoff spot this week. They need to win, and then they need either the Texans to lose, and no disrespect, I don't think the Raiders are going into Houston and going to upset the Texans. Yeah, so then, Stevie, if the 49ers beat the Colts on Monday Night Football, as long as the Bills beat the Browns, the 49ers will clinch the playoff spot for the Buffalo Bills. It's all coming together.
Okay, so Niners and Bills got to win for them to clinch then, right?
The Bills are in if that happens, yeah.
Okay. What if Niners lose?
The Bills would then need, I think, either one more win or one more Colts loss the rest of the way, and they're in.
Okay, yeah. I feel like it's gonna happen, and they about to solidify this their playoff spots right now, because I think the 49ers are going to pressure Phil. They go send the heat on them, and we'll see if we can add another dimension to the game for the Colts.
If I'm the 49ers, I'm loading up near the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you have to. You have to,
and
right?
I'm stopping Jonathan Taylor by any means necessary, and I'm daring them to throw deep. Before we go, I do want to say address one last topic. We kind of brought it up on last week's show, but Josh Allen and the MVP conversation. There's a lot of Josh Allen bashing going on social media right now, saying that people are pushing an agenda or whatever. And I just want the record to show that we're recording this on Thursday. It's live. If Matthew Stafford balls out tonight, I think he has the MVP secured. But
not yet.
You don't think so?
Not yet.
This is the thing that I think people love to, and I love Pro Football Reference. It is a lifeline of mine. I use it legitimately every day. But people love to post like those PREF stat pages.
Yeah.
And it puts passing stats all the way at the top. And then quarterback rushing is like that. And I'm like, well, if you compare the stats, total yards for total yards, Josh Allen has more. If you compare total touchdowns, they're at 37 apiece. Stafford has less turnovers, not arguing there.
Two more dominant playmakers in Puka and Devontae.
Yeah. And then people be like, well, James Cook is getting them down there, and then Josh Vultures. Okay, well, if you wanted to say that, the Rams running back rooms has more rushing yards and touchdowns than the Bills running back room.
Right? They sick too. That's what I'm saying.
And then the conversation goes, well, what about the O-line? The Bills have the best O-line. I love our O-line.
Yeah, that's not our fault.
They had lead the league this year in holding penalties. That's a knock. But I'm not they're bottom, they're like sixth lowest pressure rate allowed. The Rams are second lowest. So you have Matthew Stafford playing indoors with what I would say is the best offensive mind in football.
Forgot about
with
that.
Two all-pro wide receivers, a run game just as good, and an O-line just as good. You could give him the MVP if you want. You could say he's been more consistent. He's the one seed in the NFC. All of that. I don't care. Please stop acting like Josh Allen is not doing the same thing and putting up the same numbers without as good of a building around him.
Yeah. And not to, no, you did mention this. I want to exemplify this. Yes, being in the cold. Matthew Stafford is on the West Coast playing comfortable, throwing that ball around to his receivers that are comfortable and running backs. The Buffalo Bills are on the East Coast. Now, it's a little bit different, and you're not too pass happy on that side. So, yeah, things ain't going to be the same as far as number-wise and passing-wise, but yet you still see Allen doing what he's doing.
And for people who want to say that does not matter, the Rams' probably most surprising loss this year, Carolina. You know what? It was raining. Remember what happened to them against the Eagles? They were moving the ball in the playoffs last year until it started snowing, and then they couldn't get points on the board. We're going to see tonight. It is cold. It is windy. It is rainy in Seattle. I do think if Stafford has a big game, they're going to win the 1 seed. He's going to get the MVP. But if he struggles in the conditions against that defense, and he is no longer leading his division and no longer the top seed in the NFC, the MVP race is wide open. And I don't care what everyone wants to say, because it just is.
Okay, got you on that. Player of the year, offensive player of the year, James Cook, or does it go to the rushing leader and whoever wins the rushing league?
I think because it's Jonathan Taylor and James Cook right now, right? Those are the one thing.
Does he get offensive player?
I think he could, depending on how Taylor finishes, because if he has a couple of rough games with Phillip out there, that could go to James. But Taylor has 10 more touchdowns, so I do think that might tip the scale in his direction right now.
Okay. Yeah, before we go, also want to give a shout out another AFC team, Houston Texans. I know we don't want to hear it, but we was talking about that record in Michael Strahan. The Houston Texans got 2 DNs with over 10 tackles, well 10 and a half and 12. So putting that together, that's 22 and a half sacks. That's basically record breaking over there, and they got guys on both sides. So you see how dominant this AFC side is with that. We was talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up with athletes all over the place. The Texans, and so yeah, I mean, it's no Patrick Mahomes. However, it still should be the Bills for the taking, right?
I agree. I will say though, the thing about that narrative, and I kind of don't like it, is it's like, well, there's no Mahomes, there's no Burrow, there might not be Lamar. It's like, yes, the quarterbacks aren't, but the Broncos defense, the Houston defense, the Jags, like you're facing top defenses, so it's still not the easiest.
Also, but they beat Mahomes, they beat Burrow, and they beat Lamar in the season, so it kind of still counts, right? And Drake, and beating Drake May in the season, so that counts.
Here's the other thing with the MVP conversation, right? Drake May's best win is Josh Allen. Besides that, it's like the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, and beating Baker.
The Rams' best win is Seattle. Besides that, they lost to the Eagles. Like, if Stafford struggles tonight and Josh and the Bills beat the Eagles, then he has head-to-head victories against Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Hurts, and Drake May. The only one he's missing from that is Justin Herbert, really. But even Herbert has kind of fallen out of that tier lately with him struggling. So, like, yeah, he would have went head-to-head and beaten all the best quarterbacks outside of Stafford because he's not on the schedule.
Yeah, that Philly game is the one I'm interested in watching. Every other game, I'm expecting the Bills to win, even though the Miami Dolphins smacked us in Miami. But I still expect the Bills to, be on another level against them. But yeah, that Eagles game is the one that I want to see the Bills take advantage of and show, we're in form for the playoffs.
Stevie, if the Bills win out, they need a Patriots division loss to get it would be the division and probably the 2 seed, I would imagine.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. I don't see the Patriots losing to either of the teams. Yeah,
this schedule luck that they're getting, like, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. But they got the Bengals without Burrow and Chase. They've had a really easy schedule. And now the division hopes come down to Brady Cook and Quinn Ewers. Who? Like, that's the starting quarterbacks for the Jets and Dolphins in week 17 and 18. Like, it is, unless Tyrod Taylor is active next week and he could be our hope, maybe. He saves the Bills one more time.
Yeah, I can't say nothing. If Tyrod is, we gonna be cheering on Tyrod to work his magic. But other than that, we gonna have to see if the Patriots lose in the playoffs. For us to, because if the Patriots lose in the playoffs, then we'll get a home game for like the AFC Championship game, right? If we can.
So my road that I keep envisioning is if the Bills are the 5 seed, they get the Steelers, hopefully beat them. But what I keep seeing is like an AFC Championship game between the Bills and the Texans. And that could, as of today, that would be in Buffalo. It's a completely different ball game. This year was in Houston. Those boys got to come play in the cold and the snow. That's a completely different game.
That needs to happen, I mean, like we said, look at the stats, 22 and a half sacks. They are the best, and they're not the number 1 seed, but they are the best defense, I would say.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think in the league, right? Like Denver's up there, Seattle's up there, the Rams. But that's the other thing too. Matthew Stafford has one of the best defenses in the league as well. Yeah,
he does, and that's the thing about Seattle. I feel like you put a little bit of pressure on Darnold, and he's gonna throw the ball way more faster than what he's supposed to. He sees ghosts. And I saw that when I was actually doing the NFL matchup breakdown. Like, this guy's letting the ball go way too early, and there's nobody really around him. But,
I know.
Pressure on him is gonna be an easy game.
I think it's the Bills are. If I could be wrong on this, but I saw it on social media this week. I think the Bills are 4-1 when they give up 30 points. every other team in the NFL is something like 9-90 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I heard that. That's amazing. I mean, come on, that's that guy. 17, man. It's 17. It's the whole team, like we talked about earlier in the day. You know, that's special with what they're doing. And if they don't win a Super Bowl, I think it'd be very disappointing. And they'll think about this time for until the next season, obviously. But yeah.
We'll have plenty of time to talk. If they don't win it, I think changes have to be made. But as someone who is, I mean, I'm a lifelong Bills fan, but this group of guys now, what are we, 5 years in, 6 years in? Like, I really hope it is this group of guys that gets it done, because to come up so close so many times, like, you get us one, I will never ask for another one again.
Yeah, I mean, he going down as the great. I think this is that year. This that year it happens.
I hope. As do all of Bills fans. But one more win this weekend and pretty much secure that playoff spot, and then I'm thinking as we get closer, we could start ranking the teams in the AFC that we think match up with the Bills and stuff. But they got to punch that ticket first.
Yeah, for sure, and they will. We'll keep talking about it. We'll stay up to date, staying connected with the community, because the community always let us know what's going on. The Buffalo fan base. Shout out to Don Mook and everybody out there. And thanks for everybody's time. This has been the Sick Podcast. Bills Banter, baby. Guru.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Bills Banter on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.